Hey guys, welcome to a new episode. We are in Frederick, Maryland, home of AOPA, working on a Bonanza. Now, if you are a aficionado of the channel, you might remember that, hey, you were at AOPA several years ago working on a Bonanza. That's right. Several years ago, I worked on Tom Haynes' Bonanza, and I'm back again because he got a different Bonanza, which reminds me of a saying by American philosopher George Bush the Younger.
It says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
And what that means is, if you have your plane coated by me, and you're not happy with it, you're probably not going to call me to complain about it, unless it's like really bad, right? You're just not going to call me back if you get another plane. But over and over again, customers call me back when they get another plane because they've gotten used to how easy their plane is to clean, or they want their plane to look as good as possible, so they want that paint correction. It really warms my heart because it means that what I'm doing is valuable. People appreciate the service and they want it again on their next plane. So here we are, plane number 2 for Mr. Tom Haynes, who's retiring as the editor of AOPA magazine in a few weeks here. Also, while we're here, we're working on this Bonanza, which is November 4 Golf Alpha. This is AOPA's General Aviation promoting Bonanza. It's going to Sun and Fun in a few weeks. We want it to look as good as possible. This is also used as the photo ship for a lot of the AOPA magazine cover pictures that you see. So they take off the doors and then they fly around with a photographer in the back, so that's really cool. I already started on this one last night, kind of got this half polished. It's got a decent amount of oxidation and fading, so it's taken a decent amount of paint correction, but it's looking really good. So I'm going to share this process with you, then we'll jump over to the other Bonanza. Got a lot of Bonanza polishing to do, so time to get back to work. Anytime I'm dealing with kind of chalky oxidized paint like this, I like to use very porous polishing pads. So this is a Koch Kami pad someone sent me as a sample. The blue and green Rupes pads work really well too. You want to have a pad that cleans easily and doesn't hold on to all the paint residue, because like I said, a big part of polishing is managing the residue on your pads. So if you can't clean your pads, you can't polish, at least not for very long. So we're using an assortment of cordless flex tools here, removing the oxidation, and right off the bat that's producing some pretty good results. The stripes came out very nicely. I don't think the video quite does it justice. Bonanza wings are always tough. They got exposed rivet heads and they're big and chalky, so lots of pad cleaning went into making this happen. Everyone's favorite part, the underside. Gotta get done. Now after polishing, we panel wiped it, and then I went back over everything with a primer polish. So the panel wipe takes out all the polishing oils. The primer polish kind of stuffs the paint with silica nanoparticles, which help improve gloss. That's kind of an issue with old single stage paints. After that, coating is wiped on, work section by section. The coating is kind of a light oily consistency. After we wipe it on, we wipe it off just to level it. The coating reacts very quickly and produces a really nice finish, as you can see here. So it is several days later now, and Bonanza number 1 for Golf Alpha is done. It took a lot of work. I don't think the video really shows all of it because the more work I have to do, the less I film. The big challenge here was that with old oxidized paint, as we polish, we remove all that paint. It goes on the pad. The pad needs to be cleaned. If the pad's not clean, it doesn't polish, or at least not very well. So a lot of pad washing, making sure all that residue is gone. We started with a more aggressive step to get all that oxidation off. Then I did another kind of finishing step to really make this shine come out. And as you can see, it looks pretty good. Everyone who stopped by has been really impressed with it. Now, we are working on this one. I thought this one was going to be a little bit easier because it didn't look as bad. Well, same issue, a lot of oxidation. Once you get into that oxidation, you got to find a way to remove it, get it off your pad. So same thing's going, but the black stripes on here are really satisfying to get back. So if you look at the before and afters, it's going to look really good. I've sent some pictures to the owners and they're super happy with how it's going to turn out. So let's keep going with this plane. I got the right side polished. I'm going to start on the left side. We're going to do the black stripe first, and then we're going to do the rest of the plane so that black oxidation isn't mixing in with all the white areas. So here's a close-up of that stripe, and it looks dull. I've seen people repaint these actually because they thought it wasn't savable. Using a little bit of the last cut, my favorite compound, which is a diminishing abrasive compound, we can bring the stripe right back, assuming there's enough paint thickness. You can usually tell pretty easily if there's enough paint thickness, because if the white's showing through, you probably shouldn't do this step. And again, this is not a how-to video, so if you try and copy me, do it at your own risk. The last cut is a diminishing abrasive, so as you polish, it works down to a fine polish. And because of that, the finish is really, really good. You don't have that haziness or dullness that comes with compounding. Now the wingtip tanks, you can see all those scratches. It's not faded, it's scratched, probably because that's where you get all your bugs that are then scrubbed off, causing scratches. So the technique here is still the same. We're still using the same compound, making sure the pad is clean so we get a lot of upfront cut, and then working it down to a fine polish. Because the paint here is heavily scratched, we just have to work it longer to remove more material, but you can see the results. Awesome. Now you can see why I suspect that the wing tank is a newer paint, because the original paint on the wing was super dull. Go back using the same process and we can bring that old paint back to look really close to new paint. Of course, it's not going to look as good because it's a different formulation, but the before and after is impressive. Like the other Bonanza, this one also got a primer polish step to really bring out the shine. The white didn't look as bad, but if you look up close, you can see that even though it wasn't yellowed, it had more of a grayish tinge to it. Just oxidation and pollution getting stuck in the finish and making it not as excellent as it could be. Now, this is a completely unsolicited, it's not even an ad because I'm not getting paid, but I got this little espresso machine where on jobs like this where you just don't have time to get away, it is awesome. You put in hot water, you put in an espresso capsule, and I kid you not, it pumps out quality espresso. Like it even has the foam, the crema on top. And I don't even know how many of these I went through on this job, but it was significant. Anyway, that's dorky. Back to polishing. Here's that green medium Rupes pad. It might actually be a Harbor Freight knockoff pad too, I'm not sure. It's a nice open pore foam that does a really good job with removing oxidation without clogging up the pad. See the before and after here on the wing. Now, being that this job was running late, there's no footage of me coating this plane. You have seen me coat planes before. I don't think you want to see it again. You want to see results, and here it is. Beautiful refresh on a beautiful aircraft. We got that black dialed in, the white's glossy. More than anything, with that ceramic coating on there, the paint's not going to fade like it did. We got the new paint to match the old paint. We got the scratches out of the new paint. Overall, this plane is going to be so much easier to clean so that we don't put scratches in it when we wash it. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far and you haven't subscribed yet, might as well subscribe. You know, why not? You obviously enjoy this kind of stuff, and there's more to come. I'm glad this project was done. That was a lot of work. We'll see you on the next video. Who knows what I'll be working on next.